Is Kevin Durant the problem? And my answer between the Brooklyn Nets and obviously now the Phoenix Suns is kind of. Right? Is Kevin Durant the problem? Kind of. And obviously, Kevin Durant is one of the greatest basketball players that we have ever seen. Ever seen. I don't want to understate that because I think it's important. He is one of the greatest basketball players we've ever seen. He'd fry any one of our dad's favorite players. I promise you. He would fry all of them. But when it comes to winning championships consistently, we have to take a deeper look into who Kevin Durant is. And by the way, too, if he would have hit that shot, if his big ass foot would have been behind the line and he would have went to the finals, with the Nets in that year and not lose to Giannis and the Bucks, this conversation would look totally different. With Kevin Durant, I personally think it's a personality thing. Kevin Durant historically has been pretty laid back, calm demeanor. Not to say that he's not a competitor, right? He speaks about competing against Bron and all of them. He obviously is a competitor. But he's more of a laid back kind of person. He has this great saying.
They was just hitting a bunch of crazy
every shot.
threes. They was making every shot. And we was just like, yo, at some point the law of averages going to come back around and we're going to get back to this game. In the fourth quarter, we ended up winning by 20 points.
And I think this is also a part of the issue. He thinks about the game properly. As a coach, that's great. You have your star player, your best player, who approaches the game right. He doesn't want to shoot too much. He always tries to make the right play. Being that person and being such a calm person, I think prevents him from applying pressure on a team possession to possession to possession. And I don't mean shoot every time. But you'll very rarely see Kevin Durant demand the ball 3, 4, 5 possessions in a row. A part of being such a great scorer, a part of being a guy that goes 30 to 35 plus points per game is taking some bad ones. It's forcing some shots. It's a part of it, right? And he is a player that has historically never been that guy. He'll always get to his 25, 28 to 30. But he has to be on for him to take 25 to 30 shots. And when it comes to being the main guy and having to apply pressure on a team, I just don't think he does that consistently. He's a little bit more passive for how good he is. If I were his coach, I would tell him to get 40 every game. Just go get 40. I genuinely, I don't care how you get it. Just go get 40 because you're that good. But his personality just don't allow him to do it. I think it's a very similar thing with Kyrie. Kyrie has the greatest offensive bag, whatever you want to call it. His skill is out of this world. But being such a zen, kumbaya, chill kind of person and wanting to play basketball the right way, I think has kept him from being a 30, 35 point per game scorer because he is that good too. Kenyon Martin says all the time that he thinks Kyrie Irving is a better basketball player than Luka. And
is Luka the best player on this team?
Is he?
Production-wise. I didn't ask you that. Enough said. But in the MVP, he's the fourth best player in the NBA compared to the bullshit list from the other day. He in the MVP conversation, and in my opinion, I don't think he's the best player on this basketball team. But that's for another. Never mind. Move on.
I think a lot of people would disagree with him, but I don't think he's far off. Like, Kyrie Irving is that good at basketball, but if you look over the years, he's at 22, 24, 25. I think the most he's had was 28 points per game. He's just not going to go down and try to force pressure on the other team, possession to possession. And I think that's the problem with Kevin Durant. And the reason it worked with the Golden State Warriors is he had two guys that can do that. He had a Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson whose off the ball movement applied pressure on the other team every single game, regardless of how they were shooting. Like, people can say whatever they want about Kobe. He was going to shoot that fucking ball. And whether you liked it or not, it forced the other team to have to defend him. At every part of the floor. Because whether he's 1 for 6 or 1 for 16, he's going to take the fucking shot. And that forces defenses to have to guard, to be at high alert at all times. Like, Kevin Durant has been ultra efficient, and it's almost kind of worked against him. Because for me, I shoot more. Shoot 10 more shots a game. Do it again. Just keep doing it. Because now the defense is going to have to come out extra to defend you. Now they're going to have to literally triple team you. Maybe him, Jamal Murray, the media, right, has gotten guys to fall victim to being called the ball hog, right? There's this stigma of you have to get your teammates involved, or you got to pass the ball to these guys, right? And sometimes you do have to do that, right? Like, if you're a great scorer, that's what you do. You score. And a part of you making your teammates better is being aggressive. If you're aggressive looking to score, passing lanes will open up. James Harden wasn't averaging all the assists he was getting in the Houston Rockets, not because he was the greatest passer in the world. It's because every time he crossed half court, the entire other team knew he was going to try to score. So now guys are overcommitting. They got to overextend out and help. Everyone is open.